So I'm not exactly sure where to begin with this video. I guess I will open with straight up saying that if you are upset with the protesters and the rioters more than you're upset with the people who are causing them to protest, your anger and your frustration is extremely misguided, and quite frankly, I don't understand you and you are missing the point. You're basically getting upset with the victim and not the abuser. The police don't fucking learn, man. They don't learn. As you saw everywhere all over the internet, and as you're continuing to see, there's just more and more examples of police just not getting it, not making any sense, and being the reason we protest. What, the 75-year-old man that was basically clubbed by an officer, the homeless man that they attacked, let's just get to the big one. Shooting rubber bullets directly at people instead of doing what they're trained to do and what they're supposed to do, which is shoot it at the ground, and they hit the target. They're not doing that. Instead, they're just point blank shooting people in the fucking face, and people are losing eyes, bleeding like all hell from getting shot with a direct hit from one of those. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised. I do not understand how police just... This whole protest is about... The protest and the riots are about just racism and police brutality in America, and how bad it is, and how we had enough. The police just handle it in the wrong... They're handling it in the way that they used to handling things. A protest about racism and police brutality, the police respond with excessive force and police brutality. That's just who they are. And there are many other examples of that. Oh, another big example that I wanted to bring up, and I apologize for not getting all of them. There's just so many, but another big example of police brutality among the protesters is there was, and I feel so bad for forgetting his name. There was a black man who owned a burger joint, and he was beloved by basically everyone in the area who, obviously went to that burger place. And so what he was doing was he was giving free food to both the protesters and the police. Awesome fucking guy, right? He's dead because the police just they don't fucking get it. So basically, the protesters were outside of they were protesting, as they have the right to do, outside of the burger place. Again, the owner of the burger place, a black male who was giving out food to both protesters and police, was there. The police came over and just opened fire on the protesters. He got hit by a stray and he died. And he is no longer with us, obviously. Another one. I don't know, it's crazy, and I'm gonna be missing a lot of examples. You guys have seen it. Yeah, I don't know, man. And to the good police out there, you guys just need to know that you are enough, but there's not enough of you. Again, you are enough. You're fucking awesome. You're beloved. You matter, and we need more of you. But we need more of you. We don't have enough of you. And unfortunately, the protests aren't gonna stop for the few of you that exist out there. And I think what's especially sad is America's response to, like, the mainstream media and stuff like that, their response to all this, which is, let's never talk about the core as to why there's protesters and why some protesters have resorted to rioting. Instead, what they choose to do is just talk about the looting and with no actual substance or talk about why they're doing this thing. Rioting and protesting is part of human history. I'm sorry, but you can't be upset about it happening. It only happens when a mass group of people is very displeased or unhappy or whatever by the way they're being treated, or things needing to change, or a group of people being targeted who's had enough. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a few experiences that I've had with racism, and I'm not, again, I don't want to, I just want to explain some. I've been wanting to talk about it, and I never knew how, but it's been something that's been on my mind for a while now, and it's on my mind more as of now because of everything going on. Unfortunately, the ones that actually got to me, in terms of racial situations that I've been a part of, and there are many, so I'm just going to list off a few, happened with two of my closest friends, and up till now, I mean, and what happened was, again, they're two white men. I've known them for like 9-10 years or plus now. I don't really recall. I've known them forever. And one day, me and we were driving, and he just out of the fucking blue randomly started going off about how slavery was good for black people. How slavery was good for black people. Yes, you heard that right. And the other one, another one who I've never had a problem with for years, it was the time that my first time dating a white person. I was dating a white girl at the time, and that was the trigger. So we were hanging out one day, we were walking down the street or whatever, and then he randomly goes off about, and I don't think it was random, I think I'm gonna get to it in a second. He randomly starts going off about how he doesn't believe in interracial relationships and how everyone needs to keep it in their own race, and etc, etc, etc. And I don't want to add anything to those stories, man. That I'm just gonna let that sit, and that's some of my truth. That's something that has happened in my life, and those are two people that really disappointed me. Not to mention other scenarios that every black person has to go through on a daily basis, with just little things, people being just dickheads to you just because of the color of your skin, or like when you have a lot of white friends, racist jokes. Sometimes they're jokes. Sometimes they're just very hurtful and racist statements that you just want to say and disguise it as a joke and pretend we don't fucking know the difference. Now, let's move. We're going to skip all the other shit that I went through, like being called a nigger by my boss and stuff like that. We're going to skip all that because there's a lot more. I can do this all day, like a lot of black people can. So we're going to skip over that, and we're going to go to my relationship with police. And I don't want to go over all of them. I just want to name a few. I know one was interesting, like this was just this year. My most recent ex-girlfriend, white, her older brother tried to steal my motorcycle before I moved into my new home here. And just, I called the police, etc, and it was two white men who did nothing. And they were nice to me, sure, but I can't help but feel if I were to go to my ex's house and try to steal their fucking vehicle or car or whatever, I would be in jail right now. And let's go to the other one. So the other one, this happened forever ago. This was before I got my license. And I was like 17 at the time, and I was leaving my girlfriend at the time's house. I was riding my bike because I didn't have a car, so I was riding my bike on the sidewalk, and randomly this police car, like I'm riding on the sidewalk obviously, and this police car pulls up behind me like super fucking quick, pulls up on the curb, no lights at all. And two police officers just hop out in a fucking hurry and rush over to me, and I'm like, whoa. So I just play fucking dumb. I didn't know what else to do. I was fucking terrified, and 17 or so at the time, terrified because I've had discussions like this with my mom, and I was like, I'm gonna die today. So basically they hop out the car, and I managed to just play dumb and talk my way out of whatever it was that they planned to do that night. And basically it just ended with them saying, hey, you looked like a person who is going around stealing cars. And I'm like, what? And then I want you to keep in mind, I was riding my, so they said they pulled me over because I fit the description or look like a person that's running around stealing cars in the area. Never fucking heard anything about that on the news. But the other thing is that I was riding my bike and they pulled up behind me. You never saw my face. Why did you pull me? You didn't even really pull me over. You just ran up on me with no fucking lights. And that was terrifying. My mom was terrified, as any person would be. And my most recent ones, man, oh my god, I've had just random since I bought this house. I'm not sure how much I want to get into this. I've just had like random ass people pop up on my property. I guess they used to do this before I bought this house, but they just show up and I just see random ass people hanging out in the yard and just walking with, because I have a lot of land, and they're just way back there just hanging out. And for whatever reason, they just feel entitled. Like, even though the for sale sign is gone, they feel entitled to be here. And because I guess they used to do that, and it becomes a fucking problem, and I have to get the police and etc. And one of the, like, all right, none of them really ended well. It all ended with like some guy being very upset because he had to leave. They're all white, by the way. They're upset because they have to leave my property. Yes, I'm a young black man who owns all this fucking land, and that always seems to be catching them by surprise. Like, you own all of this? All of it, nigga? Yes, all of it. So one of the situations was I ran some guy off the property. And I remember I was walking my dog near like my old apartment or whatever, like a trail near there, and he lives this one of the guys that I ran off the property lives by that area and saw me walking my dog, and he just yells at me, "You fucking remember me?" And that turned into a whole fucking thing. He threatened to send his dog after me. He threatened that if I get the police involved and he can't be on my property anymore, he's gonna send a ton of people. He went off about how I don't belong here and how I'm very different, but he specifically said he basically got into the fact that I don't belong here because I'm black in the area. And finally, and I'm gonna knock on wood here, I have not had a problem with that in like a couple weeks with just random white people popping up on my property. But back to these protests, man, I think the biggest thing to pay attention to is how badly do they really want these protests to stop? How like, clearly, like, I haven't seen a police chief come out and do this. I haven't seen a government official or just someone in a position of power that should do so, especially the fucking president, a dumbass fucking president, come out and say, hey, there's a lot of you and we hear you, and I understand that racism and police brutality is an issue, and these are the steps we're going to take to address it, or just something. Instead, we don't get any of that. Instead, they only talk about looting, and they're not getting into the reason why anyone's protesting and rioting and etc. And we have our dumbass fucking president going off about doing this authoritarian move by infringing upon people's rights to protest by threatening to basically wage war on America's own citizens by basically releasing the military upon the protesters. Did I explain that right? But just what? I don't know, man. When it comes to the racist situations that I haven't explained all of them. But when it comes to the situations that I've been in, even though it's very, very frustrating and sometimes extremely hurtful, I just keep it pushing, man. And it's a shame because I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm still alive today to tell the fucking story. So, just say a prayer to the people, to our brothers and sisters that aren't here because of police brutality, and say a prayer to the protesters who are doing an awesome fucking job, and they have no reason to stop, because not only are we having issues with racism and police brutality, we have several other issues in America that we need to tackle, and there's no reason for them to stop. And unfortunately, and this is how shit goes, man. if it wasn't for the protests, the people, like the officer or those officers that killed George Floyd would still be out. If it wasn't for the riots, people's pockets wouldn't be hurting and our message would not be heard. That's how you play this shit, man. That's how it has to go. I'm not saying riots are good. Protesting, I'm not saying riots are good, but it's a thing that has always been here throughout human history, and it's been here for a reason. To get shit done. To get people to pay attention to your message when regular protesting isn't fucking working. I don't know. I know one thing I'm happy that I'm not hearing is the whole Blue Lives Matter bullshit. There's no such thing. I can't take this off. You can take off your fucking uniform, so just stop. Again, to all my good police officers out there, we love you, we support you. There's not enough. You are enough, but there's not enough of you. We need more of you. And I see y'all, and I don't want to overlook y'all. I see you guys in this protest. You're getting filmed as well. You're doing awesome. Again, there's not enough of you. We need more of you. Anyway, guys, this is going to be one of those videos that before I upload, I'm sure I'm gonna keep retaking this fucking video because there's gonna be more that I want to add, but I think at this point I need to just let it go up. The world's crazy, man, and I never thought that I would experience anything like this in my lifetime, but I'm happy that it is. I'm happy to be part of the change, and I'm happy that in the future when whenever it is that I have a child, I can, with this thing that will be in history, so, be on the right side of this, of history, man. I can say that I did something, no matter how small it is, man. I don't know. I love all of you. To all the protesters out there and the rioters out there, be safe. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully I explained myself properly. I am very bad at that. And I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace.